Hello and welcome to Surprise Radio. Today I have Harley Olivia joining me. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
So, do you mind introducing yourselves?
So I'm Harley, and this is Siegfried.
Yes, I'm Siegfried.
Yes, we co-write together. He's my producer. He plays guitar with me on stage. So my other half.
The other half.
Not better half.
Other. Just other.
And I know that the production does seem really good in the music, so I know that you have been working really hard on that and making good on that. How long have you been doing this?
Well, making music as a solo project only a couple years, really, but he's been producing records for
30
yeah,
ish.
a long time.
Ever.
Yeah, and he produced some bands that I really loved, like Kitty, Face to Face. So he had quite a impressive book of artists to look through. And that's why we started working together. And then I was kind of like, "Hey, do you want to make music with me?"
Here I am.
Still you.
You did steal me.
I did.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Tell me about some of your influences and heroes growing up. It could be musical or non, but definitely I want to hear about the musical.
Hmm.
Oh man. Well, I was an emo kid growing up, so I definitely listened to a lot of Marilyn Manson, My Chemical Romance, The Used, all those great staples. And then I got into sort of more catchy rock stuff. I love Mother Mother. I love The Strokes. I think Julian Casablancas is like the coolest person ever, so I kind of wanted to be him for a long time. And then Silver Sun Pickups are a huge band that I love. Um, and then I also love like Lady Gaga and like pop stars, and I love musical theater. So it was kind of like this huge kind of hodgepodge of artists bringing them all together. I always like something that's catchy and I can dance and move to, but it also kind of has a bit of an edge. There still needs to be like a rock aspect to it for me to really love it. But and then what about you?
Well, and that's probably why we work well together because I'm a little bit older than Harley. So I came to Canada in '83 from Germany. So I went from Bavarian, as a kid. I came here at 6 years old, and then I was immersed in Western, pop music, top 40 charts of the '80s, and my older brothers were into a lot of hair metal. So
Yeah.
I think I got so many different sides of it, and by the '90s when I was starting to play in bands, I was into Nirvana and punk rock stuff, and like everyone else was in that
Yeah.
era. A lot of the shoegaze sort of pre-emo, I would almost even
So
say.
you love punk rock, you
Well,
love Nirvana.
absolutely, and really when some of the stuff that you're talking about came out,
Mhm.
I was already well underway to making records with bands. So I think we definitely like we gel in terms of like all the vibes of music and
Yeah.
a lot of the pop stuff, but also the harder edge stuff.
But we meet in the middle a lot too. Like
Yeah, we
we
do,
both
yeah.
love the Beatles.
Yeah.
We like got a hard on for the Beatles like recently.
We'll watch Get Back, and that's
I'm like just discovering the Beatles now. I'm like, have you guys heard the Beatles? They're really good.
Yeah.
It's
I
embarrassing.
went I went through a Beatles phase too where I couldn't get enough of it. And luckily they have a lot to soak in,
They
but
have a lot,
Yeah.
yeah.
there's
Different eras too for you
yep.
to that are very different. So like you can go through phases, which is nice.
Yeah, like what
So
phase that you are?
Um,
What's your favorite era?
Let It Be is my favorite.
It's a pretty
really?
good era.
Yeah. Yeah, I just love all like it's kind of rockier, like it's all less produced and more raw,
Organic.
I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the earlier stuff. I love the suit and tie like era of the Beatles.
I mean, it's all good.
It's all good.
It's
That's
all
the
good.
thing. It's so hard to pick one,
Don't get us started about the Beatles.
Well, how about instead we get started on where you came from? So I know that you have been an airline attendant and you just recently stopped doing that. So you've
Yep.
switched to music full time. Talk about that with me a little bit.
Oh man, how much time do you have? Well, I was a flight attendant for 10 years and it was amazing. Like I got to go to like over 33 countries or something like that. Like I got to see some of my favorite places like Hungary. I love Portugal. Um, I went to India, like all over, everywhere, South America. But it was becoming very apparent that it wasn't what I was put on this earth to do. A lot of my colleagues loved it and like talked about it the way I talk about music. So I was starting to get really depressed, just kind of going through the motions all the time, serving people on a plane. I just knew it wasn't where I was supposed to be, and trying to put on a brave face for customers when you're like dying inside is like really hard. So I wrote a lot of songs about it, so that was nice. Um, and then I was teaching vocals on the side a little bit, and then Siegfried actually gave me a push to do it full time. And actually, one of your clients did too. She was like, "Can you need to teach vocals?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, maybe."
She's like, "Can you teach me?"
And then she said, "I have a client for you." And so she also really pushed me into it. And then I started teaching vocals. I started writing more, and now we're just like performing, and I'm teaching singers full time. And so my whole world is music now, which is really nice.
And you bring up a good point. I know that I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say mine always has been for the last 30 years, so I don't really know any difference. So it was easy for me to push in that direction.
You're like, quit. What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Why are you working another job? I haven't had you for 30 years. You shouldn't either. This is,
But it was scary too, like quitting something that you've been doing for 10 years, and especially something that has like kind of like a cool vibe to it. Like people, anytime I would go on layovers, if I met someone at a bar or something to say, "What do you do?" I would lie and not tell them I was a flight attendant, because they would have so many questions. I was like, oh my God, like it got old. So I would say I worked for a company or an airline industry worker, but I never stood flight attendant. And now I'm like, I'm a vocal coach, I'm a singer, I'm a performer. Like
you're a lot more proud about what you do now.
Yeah, now I want to talk about it. So
yeah.
I completely understand that. And what I was going to ask a minute ago is you did kind of allude to it. You're a big advocate for mental health. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that, some of the stuff that you do and just kind of what you went through and what helps you.
Yeah, I mean, I went through kind of like a dark depression in my early 20s. I went to theater school, so I studied acting for a long time as well. And when I graduated, I kind of went through like my party phase, which was really fun, but then it just kind of didn't end. And I was like, looking back on it now, I realize it was because I wasn't following my heart. I wasn't going for music the way that I should have been. But yeah, it was just like a dark time of not following what I should be doing. Honestly, like drinking too much alcohol, staying out too late, like not following my dreams. It took a while to figure out what was going on. It seems so simple now. But with it came like a lot of anxiety, depression. I think ADHD paralysis is what gets me the most. So because I've experienced these dark places, I feel like it's my responsibility to like help people out of the light or out of the darkness into the light. When I see someone struggling, like it breaks my heart because I know how that feels. And when you lose your sense of self, it's really disconcerting and it's hard to pick yourself back up. And so there are certain things that I did that helped me get out of that hole. So yeah, I definitely like to share with people or like talk to them when they might be going through the same thing. I think you asked me what I do to do that. And I mean, music's a big part of it. So definitely listening to music that makes me feel good. I also have realized that I don't think my brain makes as much serotonin as it needs to on its own. So I have to do it for it. So I have to exercise as much as I don't want to. I have to.
The studio where we are is actually in the country on Lake Huron. So
yeah.
We do have like the grounds are immense. It's a 220-acre farm.
Sunlight
with the skylights and you can kind of see how much light is in this room. So this is the track camera.
Yeah, when I was really going through it, I was living in a basement as well. And I didn't realize how much of an effect that has on you. And it's hard. Like, I don't know if you've heard about like the housing crisis in Toronto, but no one can afford homes. So everyone's either living in a basement or with like a bunch of roommates. So unfortunately, there's a lot of people who are kind of going through it just based on that, not getting enough light.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. But also therapy.
I know too.
And cats. Cats works.
I think there's no one thing. I think there's
Yeah.
a combination of things that help that situation. So
Yeah.
I know that so many of us struggle with it, myself included, and it's always nice to remind people that they have an ally in it, and that if they're ever feeling alone, they have people they can reach out to. If we can't do anything, we can at least listen, or you know, whatever it is we can, because we've gone through it too.
yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I did a playlist takeover for Aesthetic Magazine called Anthems for the Anxious. Well, I called it that, and I basically put a bunch of songs on there that help me when I'm either like in an ADHD hole or I'm like panicking or have really bad anxiety. These are all the songs that kind of helped me. And then I also wrote like why they help or like little tips here and there of like what you can do if you're feeling that way too. Because yeah, it blows, but we all feel it sometimes.
And I can link that in the description below on this video.
Yeah.
So, changing gears just a little bit, going through your Instagram, I caught a couple of things I wanted to ask you about, including you're introducing what you wanted to do, and you just let out this primal scream. I didn't know you had it in you. What songs do you have that have that in there?
Have screams?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I sang in a metal band before I went solo. And so a lot of those songs had some screams in them. So my old band was Anthems and Ashes. And I'm trying to think, Her Fire has a really gnarly scream on it, which he also produced. But Haunted is my latest song under my name. And it's kind of the first one that I've put a scream into. I think we'll probably lean into that more in future songs, but I think personally, coming from the harder rock metal genre, I didn't want to like pigeonhole myself and only do screams. I remember I used to like go on stage and I'd be like, it doesn't matter if I sing the wrong word or whatever, I'll just scream it, no one will know. And then I had to sing my sister's first dance song at her wedding. And that was the most scared I've ever been performing because I couldn't hide behind my screams. I couldn't hide behind loud drums or distortion or like the of it all. And so that's kind of where I decided I wanted to try to push myself and become more technically minded with my singing and really push myself as a vocalist and not just rely on screams. So I kind of left them out for a bit, but I love them. I teach screaming too. Like I love it. So I'm sure there'll be more screams in the future. Keep an eye out.
She's also one of the, I mean, and it's easy for me to say this and it can be biased and everything, but you're pretty much the best vocalist I've ever actually worked with. And in 30 years, I mean, I worked with a lot of punk rock guys. A lot of guys don't have any training. They might have some sort of X factor. They might have something cool. They might have some pitch problems. So you tune your vocal, whatever. There's lots of things to do, but in terms of technical ability and pitch and phrasing, the timing and the way you roll like the lyrics together, I've never heard anyone like you. Like it's definitely very.
Oh my, I didn't tell him to say that. By the
way. Just when you hand him the money, do it under the camera.
And I always say it doesn't even matter what mic I can put on. I can put up a $100 mic on her voice or a $3,000 mic. I'm like, it just sounds good. Like there's. You can sing. You can fart in a tin can. This would sound great. That's what I always say.
We'll try that for the next one.
Just try that.
I do agree. You definitely have a nice natural voice, so you don't have to scream to impress. But I did find myself impressed when I think that's why I was so impressed by it. I was like, oh, you can do that. Okay, you're literally able to do it all.
It's kind of like swearing. It's like you don't want to overuse it, but when you really want to like enunciate or like bring it home, then you use it sparingly. Yeah.
I can agree with that. I can understand that frame of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, what's the best way to open a banana?
Oh, do you have a thing on this? Do you do this?
Yeah, I had a TikTok on it. I wish I had a banana. I would show you.
Want me to get one?
No, I ate it already.
Oh, fuck.
But from the bottom, so that long part, you turn it upside down, you dig your nail into it, and then you pull it. Like that's how the monkeys open them.
She learned that in the jungles when she was.
Where she got her leopard print.
Yeah,
this
real
is
leopard. Real
and
leopard.
that is the correct answer. That is how you open a banana. I was just testing.
I didn't know either. She taught me that, so
yeah.
She taught me so much.
Yeah, he ate it wrong the other day, and I was like,
I still do. I don't open it the other way.
Wrong.
I feel weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the safe word still pineapple?
Apparently it shouldn't be. So this,
So I didn't know
yeah,
that
we're stupid.
an upside down pineapple is a secret sign to swingers
Oh,
that you're a swinger.
It's supposed to be. Apparently, it's your mat, like your doormat. If it's got a pineapple on it, you turn it upside down,
like,
so people can come to your house and be like, "Hey, they fuck other people."
well, it started because of like elderly people would go on cruises to like go swinging, and they would have an upside down pineapple on their door so that other swingers knew to like come to their room. So we are like holding a pineapple and being like pineapple, and then like everyone's asking him. Like, he was getting DMs being like, so like, do you guys are you
a swing?
And we're like, what?
Am I a what? I don't get what's happening.
Oh God, so that's
fun.
Yeah,
we're stupid.
Yeah.
so I usually ask about covers that you'd like to do, but you did do Like a Stone, and I wanted to ask your thought process behind doing that song specifically, and if, just kind of talk to you about that, and if there's any other covers you would want to do in the future, possibly.
Well, I've always loved that song. I think Chris Cornell's voice is one of the greatest voices of our time. So it's a little intimidating to pick that song, but we actually picked it because Siegfried was teaching a production workshop.
Yeah, I teach these like engineering and music production workshops here at Beach Road, and we needed a song. And usually I bring in a band for that, but this time we decided we're going to do a little bit differently, and just create a band for it. You were the vocalist, some other guys that I worked with were the other band, and we needed a cover for it. So it really wasn't actually meant to even be for release. It was just for this workshop.
But it turned out so nicely.
Yeah, it turned out amazing. And I thought, why would I put
so much work into it too? We had one guy who like drove in just to play the guitar solo. And
he was from like an hour away and drove in and just ripped the solo and took off. And
it was so funny.
It turned out so well that we didn't want to throw it away. So I think it was just one of those. Yeah.
But it was cool because everybody got to kind of like be a part of it, like a group of like how many students? Like 10 students.
Yeah, for those, yeah.
So it was like it was really cool. Like I got to like record it in front of them and have it become this workshop, and then
over the course of 3 days.
Yeah, it was cool.
And what other covers are you thinking? We do a bunch of covers live.
I mean, we sing The Drugs live by Mother Mother. I would love to actually cover that song, or maybe another one of theirs.
We do some Måneskin. We do.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah, I mean, any one of those to like actually release would be kind of cool sometime in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a million covers that I would like you to do, but I may end up having to sing those ones, which would be kind of fun too.
No, I'm open to anything.
Song in there somewhere,
But yeah, we're always recording and always doing stuff, so we kind of have to pick and choose a little bit more now, just because we're a bit busier. But yeah, probably something soon.
Yeah.
Well, we have a new single coming out soon, so we should focus on that first.
We have a new single, and we have a bunch of ones that we've been writing, and there's probably like at least another 3 or 4 after that are your own.
He can't keep up with me. I have a little list of songs, and I keep writing. Every time I write a new one, I like put it down. I'm like, oh, we should probably work on some of these because the list is growing.
Well, and she has a very unique writing process that I've never done it this way with someone else. Because she comes up with all she knows the key. She knows the tempo. She knows the verse and the chorus lyrics and the melody, and all of that's written first and with no instrumentation. Yeah. And so she brings them to me, and then usually I'll find things that work around it. You'll tell me if you don't like it. And
I recorded on like a voice note on my phone of like the verse and chorus. I'll sing the song, bring it to him, and then he kind of works around what I've written.
The traditional way that I've always written with other artists is the music comes first. And you might have some scatting and some melodies and stuff, but you have finished lyrics generally for a verse and a chorus.
Well, sometimes I change them, but
and you usually always leave the bridge for last.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, this song needs a pre-chorus, and it needs a bridge, and it needs an outro. So. But you have the core of it.
I think that's the ADHD in me. I like write the verse and the chorus. I'm like, it's done. And then he's like, no, we have to work on it. We have to keep like writing more. And I'm like, no, now it's done. I move on to the next thing.
Yeah, so there's a handful of those that are like that.
Yeah.
And we just sort of pick away at them. So yeah.
Now, at one point, I always like to give everybody a chance to shout out their sponsors. So of course, if you have any sponsors, now's the time to shout them out.
Well, we have a bunch. I work with a number of companies actually. Warm Audio has been really amazing.
Yep.
Shure Audio has been phenomenal with us over the years. SJC Drums, I've been working with them since 2008.
Yeah.
Noble and Cooley makes some of the best snare drums in the world. I've got one of the Restless Classics here that is pretty much on almost every album I produce.
Yeah.
There's so many more. Radial Engineering, which is one of the companies in Canada that we're most proud of. I worked with them now for at least 15 years. Yeah, there's more. I have the whole list.
SE Electronics?
Yeah, SE Electronics. They make some really great microphones too. And Heil Microphones, I've worked with them for. Bob Heil actually just passed away 2 days ago.
So
founder of Heil Microphones. So he's been in the industry, I think it was in his mid 80s. So
oh yeah. Well, one of Own Your Stigma is a clothing company that I'm an ambassador for. So their proceeds of their clothing go to charities that support mental health. So you'll probably see me repping Own Your Stigma on my Instagram. I love their hat and I love their shirt.
I wear mostly clothing from the Salvation Army and the Valley Village.
There's nothing wrong with that. We love thrift shopping.
We thrift shop.
I thrifted this and I thrifted this.
Yeah, this jacket was $7.
Yeah.
Usually wear band t-shirts or Viper Room but the thing is, thrift shops have actually come up in price in recent times since the pandemic because they recognize a lot of people are either reselling or they're doing Etsy or some of those things to make some money. So we
love it. We love it. We love the hunt. We're like
the hunt is
nice. You never know what you're gonna find.
Yeah, the same with gear. You can kind of see a little bit of this room is a little insane, but it's way more insane behind here.
Yeah, we're not gonna show you that.
but in terms of the equipment, it's the same thing for me. For 30 years, I've collected different pieces of gear and guitars and instruments because the hunt is actually what is the most exciting part of all that.
Actually, I do understand that. I used to go thrifting when I was younger with my mom, and it was always fun to kind of find something to go, well, this looks stupid together. Let's do it.
Yeah. Honestly, most of my stage clothes have come from thrift shops, and I go in with that in mind, and I'm like, ooh, what could I wear? What's like, and even if it doesn't fit me, I'm like, I'll make it fit.
Cut it up, cut it up, and make it.
Cut it up, change it,
Put it back together with safety pins.
Sure.
So, do you have a favorite song to sing or play?
Oh man, they're all my babies. I mean, I think Diggin' is really fun. It's so slick. It's so like sassy and swaggy. So even if I'm having kind of like a low energy night, as soon as that song comes on, I'm like ready. Like it's so fun to sing that one, and everybody gets jumping and dancing, and so usually the crowd starts moving around at that point too.
I like No More Tears a lot. It's got quite a journey, dynamically from beginning to the end, with the string section and the bridge. And,
that one is nice too.
It just chordally, it's really nice. It just feels really good to play, and it's got some good movement.
And actually, the song Cherries, I wrote it about growing up and like trying to actually get out of that hole of depression we were talking about. But I also named it after one of my absolute favorite bars in Toronto, Cherry Cola's, but it shut down during the pandemic. But that was where like my community of people in the music industry used to hang out, and it was kind of like our stomping grounds. So I wrote a song named it Cherries, and so anytime I play that in Toronto and there's people who know Cherries and know what I'm talking about, they're always like, yay! So that always feels really good when I get to play that song.
And it's a different song too for you. Like when you started writing that, I didn't really know what to do with it, and it just kind of became a little bit pop punky almost. So but it's cool.
It's fun.
It shows how versatile your music and your style really is, though.
Yeah.
So
I know you think that you're going to get away with mentioning your new song and me forgetting to talk about it, but that's not going to happen. So what's this new single you're talking about?
It's awesome. I love it. It's
awesome. So it's called You're Not Ready. And it's a mover too.
It's definitely in that pop punk kind of vein as well, I think, again.
But it's kind of about like when you're, I don't know, a relationship doesn't work out and it's not your fault. We always put the onus on ourselves or be like, oh, like, I don't know, be anxious about it, or I don't know, have thoughts about it. But really a lot of the time it's like the wrong place and time. Maybe that person wasn't ready for you or you weren't. And it's kind of just all those feelings wrapped up into one.
Now, how far have you traveled for tour?
Well, we actually haven't really, since we're such a new band and we started during COVID. So
we've only been playing shows since last January.
But we've played pretty much as many towns and cities in Ontario as we can.
This year will be a bit busier, I think,
Yeah,
too. So.
this year we're trying to get on more of the festival circuit. So I applied to a lot of festivals all over. So we'll see what comes of that. I think I even applied to some in Texas. So.
Yeah, you did actually. Yeah. That would be amazing to get.
Yeah.
So we actually have a little tour bus. During the pandemic, I've been playing this for a long time, but I bought a Mercedes Sprinter that I converted into a home/recording studio that I could work out of, during various times, and so that's what we use to tour with. So
yeah,
and it's a great vehicle to do. Runs through the U.S. with so Nashville, Los Angeles, Texas.
Yeah, we're actually hoping to go to Nashville this spring, maybe, and suss it out and see what we can.
Maybe we'll play the Bluebird Cafe.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. Even as an acoustic little thing, we
Yeah.
did a little acoustic thing, backyard thing for your folks in the summer, and it was actually quite enjoyable just to do a little.
That was fun.
Nothing was mic'd up, just like straight up acoustic guitar and vocal, and really figuring out how you can make the songs work in that sense is actually kind of interesting. So that's the kind of thing that you would do at like a coffee shop or something.
We actually do play the set most of the time now with the drummer, so it's usually a 3-piece.
Yeah.
But we have in the past played it as a duo. If it's it's a small venue or whatever, like or
you're not getting paid to do it and you have to travel to get there, and it's worth doing, obviously.
Yeah.
Still, so.
But we've made it so that we can play it with drum tracks and kind of make it more of like a poppier set, or we can have it with full drums and make it more.
When we do it as a duo, it actually sounds more electronic. So the drums have a very like Lindrum kind of 80s kind of electronic vibe to them.
Yeah, we like that 80s Lindrum.
It is fun actually because it punches through, but you can turn it down quite quiet, in terms of like what venue you're playing in, and it still sounds like a band playing. It's really, so yeah. Which works really well in like really trash venues that are like echoey and the sound person doesn't care. We can handle everything off the stage with right here in the corner, actually, a tiny little rig.
Yeah, we're a sound person's dream because we kind of
roll in, we do our own in-ears, we've got everything. There's no amps. I run all on Fractal. Actually, Fractal Audio, of course, is another one of my companies I work with. So I use the FM3.
Yeah, we're literally looking at our setup here. You could just name it.
Literally just on the floor, yeah. So, but yeah, Fractal's been really good with me over the years. So I use their stuff exclusively for a live set. So we're very quiet on stage. There's no monitors. And so the front of house can really get it as loud as they need to make it punch through. So it's funny because I hear cell phone footage of some of those really bad venues, and I hear different bands playing with us that are more full band, and they're almost inaudible over a cell phone. And then you hear us come on, and you just hear everything so clear, and your vocals just soaring over top of everything. And I'm like, yeah, we worked hard to get there, though. To make that happen.
Yep.
But I do enjoy playing with a drummer because there's a whole different energy. And,
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. But that's it. No bass players. Sorry, bass players. I'm the bass player, and I'm the guitar player.
We get a lot of people coming up to us being like, "Hey,
bass player." No, we don't. You see, this way, the bass always plays the right notes.
Oh my God! Yeah, he's worked with too many bands. He's jaded.
Well, guys, before we go today, I wanted to kind of open the floor up to you and just kind of give you a chance to talk. I know that you're growing, that you said you've been doing this for a little less than 2 years or barely right at 2 years, something like that. So, like I said, just kind of tell people what they can expect from Harley Olivia and what they have to look forward to tuning in and why they should.
Well, with the summer approaching, lots more live shows, lots of live footage. We're going to be pumping out singles as often as we can. Actually, our next single, we're going to release it as an EP. So that will be out, I want to say, probably early summer, maybe. But yeah, just more music, more content. I'm definitely going to, I've been working a lot, like making a lot of TikTok content and things like that. So I don't know, next week, I'm going to start being more, I don't know, presence online. I'm just going to try to infect the world with my music and see where it goes. But yeah, and I think every year we kind of we get a little farther. Like I said, like this year, we're trying to get more festivals. And then the year after that, we're hoping to do, I mean, even if a little tour came now, we would take it.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we're just going to keep going and keep making material and I don't know, keep an eye on Spotify and Instagram and TikTok.
And I know that you also like you said earlier, do vocal coaching. So if anybody's looking for a good vocal coach, they can
Yeah.
find your info on your Instagram.
Yeah, actually, HarleyOliviaMusic.com is like kind of where everything is, but you can get there at the link in my bio. I have all my links there for everything. So link in bio on Instagram. So yeah. Yeah, and I love teaching all kinds of singers too. Like some are accomplished vocalists who are going to be touring in bands, and then some are just singing for fun. I have some beginners, and then I also have people who sing traditionally well but want to learn how to scream. So it's kind of a nice, broad group of singers.
And you teach online as well as in person. So there
Yeah,
are,
yeah.
if someone's within an hour distance or something, you know, in person is a whole different experience.
Yeah, but if we're on tour, I'm going to still be coaching singers because I love it.
Yeah.
Siegfried, Harley, thank you both so much for joining me today. I hope that you had as much fun as I did.
Yeah,
Thank you
we
so
did.
much.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thanks for letting us chat your ear off.